This is Diana Sullivan in Austin, Texas. I'm doing a series of lessons on beginning to machine knit, and now I'm going to do a lesson on short row shaping. The word short row means knitting less than all the way across, knitting a shorter row than if you knitted all the stitches across. Hand knitters do this by turning the work after knitting a few stitches. Well, on a knitting machine, typically there is a setting that will knit all the stitches, and there is a setting that will knit only the stitches that are not in holding position. The setting is H, which stands for hold, and I've choked way close to the needles and the machine this time, but I want to show you the setting on the machine is on this Brother 270 right here on the left of the carriage, and you slide it over to the hold position before you can do any short row shaping. It has N on here and H. H is for hold. I'll move the carriage out of the way now. Now, if you're going to do short row shaping, one of the easiest short row shapings to do is to do the toe of a sock, believe it or not. If you take a sock and look at it, you can see the little pocket that your toe fits in. I haven't heretofore used any weights on these lessons, but I'm going to put a claw weight on this one and make a rather large toe because this is a bulky machine, and just show you how it's done. Typically, shaping a toe, you're going to take a stitch from B position out to holding position on one or both sides, and I'll just do both sides and make this kind of quick and easy, and then knit across. Now, notice that the machine did not knit either of these end needles. On this end, it went over the top of the needle with the yarn but didn't knit it, and on this end, it didn't knit this needle either. Now, if I were to knit back like this, a hole would form right here where it knitted this one twice and the yarn came back across here. Makes an ugly little hole. However, for a toe, you very often have a short row decrease. That is, you're knitting less needles than before every single row. So if I bring a needle out, the yarn is now under this needle. It's not going to form a hole. And I'm going to bring a needle out on each side, knit across, needle out on each side, knit across, and one of the things that happens as you knit these needles in the middle but you don't knit the needles in the end is there's more fabric here and it gets longer. So the function of the weight is to pull that down so that it remains manageable. A needle here, brought forward a needle here. And my weight isn't on very well. Let's poke it on better. Needle here and a needle here. And I'm going to short row down to 6 needles. So these 6 needles in B position are still knitting. These needles that are sticking out are in E position. We also call it hold position. And I'm going to knit across. Now, if this were a real toe, after I did the decreases, I will do increases. So, to do increases, you take the yarn under the first needle in this group, so it goes under this needle, and you bring that needle back about halfway to D position. And the same thing on this side. You bring the needle back about halfway. Now, positions have a little bit different names from one machine to the next, but it's the same idea generally. All the way out is going to be hold position. Part way down is going to be put it back in work. It is now going to knit this stitch as well as these others that are all the way in B position, working position, and it's going to knit this stitch too. So I'm going to increase back out as if I were making the toe of a sock. Now, sometimes when you make the toe of a sock, you increase and decrease just on one side, on the carriage side. Just depends on how pointy you want your toe to be. Short row shaping is used for other kinds of shaping. For instance, you can use it to make darts, and you can make the shaping on shoulders with it. Now, because I'm putting more needles in work, this is called short row increasing. I'm going to knit a few rows, take it off, and hold it in front of the camera so that it's easy to see the shape that was created by the short rowing. Cut the yarn. I am not a person who breaks yarn with my fingers. Sometimes the yarn is too tough and my fingers take a beating. I'm removing the claw weight, removing the comb. Okay, here is the short row shaping with a little tug to set the stitches. Holding it this way, imagine that that were a toe, or I could fold it over and show this way. You see these sides where it goes up, it didn't knit all the way across. It knitted like this, and then less, shorter and shorter rows. Then as I began to increase, it knitted longer and longer rows. So that is the simplest form of short row shaping. It's just one stitch at a time. And I'm going to do another lesson on short row shaping, showing a little bit more complicated shape.